I just can't believe it. I just can't believe he's just been leading me on this whole time.
Debbie had just found out that the man she loved was married. She was well on her way to getting drunk when she said,
"The next guy that walks through the door is mine."
That's when John Lowe came into the bar.
I said, "Come here, Blondie," and I reached over and grabbed him and kissed him, and that was it.
John and Debbie's wild encounter that night started a relationship between two broken people. Although Debbie grew up in a well-to-do Christian home, she was molested by a family friend when she was only 4 years old. At age 13, she gave her life to Christ. But then during high school, she was raped. Drugs and alcohol became a way to numb the pain of sexual abuse. Thoughts of suicide often crossed her mind.
I would just spend, hours just crying and isolating myself in my room.
Debbie ran away from home when she was 16. To survive, she turned to stripping and then prostitution.
It was partly the money, and it was partly just the adoration. Somebody accepted you, somebody wanted you.
As much as she liked the attention, Debbie was still drawn to God. She and another stripper often read the Bible together. John, on the other hand, grew up on the poor side of town. As a teenager, he worked as a money collector for his drug-dealing brother.
That job would entail something like a van pulling up in front of your house, the van door would slide open, 4 or 5 guys would step up to that open van door with shotguns and blow the windows right out of your house, shoot your house all to pieces. Those shells were, that guns were empty, the door would close, and we'd drive off.
But John had talent. He won a football scholarship to a college in West Virginia and was offered a chance at a better life. That's when he was jilted by his girlfriend and went to the strip club where he met Debbie.
And I was standing there like, whoa, what was that?
Their passion for each other led to marriage just 5 weeks later. Debbie stopped stripping and devoted herself to John.
When he proposed, I couldn't believe it. That somebody actually wanted to commit, a lifetime to me.
But soon after the marriage, Debbie's excitement diminished. John wasn't exactly the man of her dreams.
Who does she marry? A maniac. A guy that has a temper problem. A guy that doesn't know how to be tender or gentle, a guy that doesn't know how to communicate, a guy who's selfish, got married out of lust, and fix the food, shut up, take care of me.
3 months into their marriage, Debbie got pregnant. But 7 months later, during a routine examination, the doctor gave them tragic news.
"Debbie, I'm so sorry, I cannot hear a heartbeat."
And that was just like, you've got to be kidding me. The baby's dead. I was devastated.
Everybody told me God killed it. So I went up on a mountain in West Virginia and basically told God off, gave him the finger, and said, if that's the way you are, I don't need you.
I was really losing my mind at that point. It was a complete emotional breakdown.
Debbie searched for something to hold on to. She turned on the 700 Club.
How much more will your Father give the Holy Spirit to them and ask Him?
They were saying words that seemed to give me some glimmer of hope that started to bring some life back into the possibilities of God having an answer for me.
But John dealt with his pain by putting all of his attention on football and other women. They separated for 2 months. During that time, Debbie needed to know if it was really God's will for them to stay together.
I got my Bible out and I prayed and I asked the Lord, I said, I just need to know. And so the Bible fell open to 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 13, where God speaks to the issue of marriage and said, if the unbelieving husband doesn't choose to depart, then for you not to leave.
But when she went back to give John another chance, he gave her divorce papers.
I was just telling the Lord how much I wanted to, make my marriage work, how much I wanted to live my life, to please Him, and that, I would do anything He asked me to do.
Debbie also knew that the only one who could change John was God. She asked John for one last favor, to go to Easter service with her the next morning.
After a while, I looked at her and I thought, I'll get her off my back. So I said to her, okay, Deb, this is the deal. I will go to church with you tomorrow, but you have to leave as soon as church is over with, and you have to promise me you will never come back.
Debbie accepted John's terms, but during the Easter service, John whispered something to Debbie.
I said, if I go down there and do that prayer thing, you're not going to cry, will you? And she said, oh, yeah. So I got ticked off. I was ticked. Here she is in this church. All these people know who I am, and she's crying. And but I stepped out of the aisle anyway and walked down the aisle and got down to the front where the pastor was and prayed the prayer of salvation. And so we walked out of church that morning, and instead of my wife leaving, it began a miracle of healing our marriage and healing our lives.
John and Debbie decided to devote themselves completely to Jesus Christ. The drugs, alcohol, and adultery stopped. Through counseling, John and Debbie were able to overcome their past and learn how to live as a loving husband and wife and parents.
He's forgiving and gracious to me. He's given me multiple chances. He never gives up on me, and he's always encouraging me, and he's strong.
There is hope and healing even in the most devastating types of circumstances that couples go through. And to say, you know, from experience, we've been through that and we've come out on the other side in victory. And if God will do it for us, He'll do it for you.